1 month ago, I posted a video of my gigging and recording setup with my bass of choice being this 1978 Fender Jazz bass. However, the more I looked at 1970s Fenders, the more I noticed not a single bass from that time period had white pickups and white controls. I was told when I bought this bass that it was all original, nothing had been swapped out, and this is how it had left the factory. So I decided to go to people who would know more about this topic by making this post in a Facebook group dedicated to lovers of bass guitar, asking why my pickups were white. My post garnered enough responses for me to start piecing together what exactly I had, and from what I gathered, this isn't from 1978. 2 people that responded to my post told me that they had the exact same issue and showed me their basses. One was a blonde jazz bass with an S8 serial number, which mine shares, dating the bass to 1978, but the person sending me it mentioned that white pickups were only introduced in the 80s. The second person sent me a pic of their S8 serial number and mentioned something called the transition era. As much as it had S8 on the headstock, it had 83 stamped on the neck heel to signify that the bass completed construction in 1983. Many other people gave their takes on the matter, mentioning how Fender had an inventory that allowed basses to be stamped with a different year to the serial number. It also isn't uncommon to see S8 and S9 numbers on 80s basses because Fender had so many serial numbers printed off to get rid of. Something to take note of is that Fender was going through huge changes at this time. Quality control had been slipping in the 70s and they wanted new staff such as Dan Smith to come in and help get Fender back to where it was. This then led to the Dan Smith era starting in 1981. The jazz bass was redesigned and the pickups and controls were now white, like my bass. Due to the redesign, I can only imagine Fender were throwing guitars and basses together with whatever they had left over from before Dan Smith's hiring, as Fender are known to be very against wasting anything in the factory, possibly leading to the use of these 70s serial numbers on basses that were assembled in the early 80s. The Fullerton factory the Fender operated at was also closing down due to CBS being bought out, so I think it is also plausible that any inventory left from the 70s was being mixed and matched with anything they could find to make a bit of money. I knew my bass was not a Dan Smith because of the 3-ply pickguard as opposed to Dan Smith's single-ply, and the bound neck with block inlays which was left behind in the 70s. The bass itself is also really heavy, similar to that of a 70s jazz bass. This only created more questions though. What is this bass? When was it made? And was somebody lied to somewhere down the line of selling it and I've bought the wrong thing? With these questions, I decided to take the bass apart and also visited the shop that my friend bought it from before selling it to me. I started by taking the neck off and checking the heel to find the matching S8 serial number on the body, but a stamp reading 6882, 8th of June 1982. Then I took the control plate off and checked the pots to read R1378206, 137 standing for the Chicago telephone supply, 82 standing for the year 1982, and 06 standing for the week of that year. When I took the bass into the shop, my first question was why does the neck heel have a 1982 stamp, but the body and the headstock have a matching 78 serial number? They informed me that the serial number could override the heel stamp as the body and neck could be from 1978, but it may not have been fitted with electronics and hardware until it was fully assembled in 1982. Now something you may notice is the pickguard does not have the thumb holes, reminiscent of a 70s jazz bass, but when we took the pickguard off, there were the thumb holes on the body, possibly suggesting this isn't the original pickguard, or this was the only pickguard they had to work with, as the thumb holes and thumb rest was removed on the Dan Smith era jazz basses. There could be numerous reasons as to why the body and neck are from the 70s but were not pieced together. A couple of theories were just that they had a large inventory and didn't need to put it together until the new design was coming in and they didn't want to waste any old stock. Or something the camera can't pick up that well is that the bass seems to be sun damaged and discoloured. This could have happened in the factory and led them to put it to one side until, again, the new design was coming in and they didn't want to waste anything, so fitted it with the white pickups and white control covers of that new era in the early 80s. I'm going to try show you the discoloration, but it's not going to look that good on camera, but I'll try. Okay, check this out. Exactly this. It's kind of gone like a chocolatey colour.
There are some black blotches around as to where it might not have discoloured, but a lot of it is this kind of colour all around.
This bass is still a mystery to me, and my theories could be completely wrong. I've struggled to find other basses from this time period with white pickups but a rosewood fingerboard on a bound neck with block inlays. From what I've seen, they've all been maple. This bass could have been sun damaged in a shop window or an excessive amount of gigging outside. Either way, the second I saw this bass, I knew I wanted it, and the weeks I'd been using it before finding out, I loved how it looked and I loved how it played. To me, it sounds incredible, and it very quickly became my number one. It's very much a one of a kind in my eyes, and it would be cool to know more about it, but I'm very happy just knowing that it's not quite like the others. If you stay till the end, thank you very much for watching. This has just been me nerding out about the possible history of my number one bass. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.